Hey YouTube, Ed here with Jack of all trades, and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be talking about the Overland Vehicle Systems Nomadic 270-degree awning. So stay tuned and let's talk about this awning. And welcome back. So yes, what we're going to talk about today is the Overland Vehicle Systems Nomadic 270-degree awning, and this is the LTE version. So I believe they call it the HD Nomadic LTE. And LTE, I'm assuming, stands for light, because this is a slightly smaller version of their Nomadic 270-degree awning. And I went with that because I obviously didn't install this on a vehicle rack like it's normally intended to be. I installed this on my Freedom camper, and I wanted something that wasn't going to stick out so far, but yet was going to give me some pretty decent square footage coverage with the awning when it's fully deployed. Now, just some specifications about it. From end to end in the stowed position like this, about 80 inches long, so it fits on here really nicely. Actually, I think it's closer to about 75. The whole unit weighs about 30 pounds, so it's not particularly heavy, which is one thing I liked, but it's heavy duty enough where I don't have to worry about this thing shaking apart as I'm going down the road. It comes with a PVC bag that you use to store it in. This is what they call a 100G, which is, I believe, 100 gram waterproof PVC bag. It's got zippers on the bottom of it, and they face down so that water will drip out of it if any water was ever to ingress in there. And it's just really a nice setup. The brackets are really nice and heavy duty. They give you everything you need to mount it to a vehicle rack. Now, like I said, I installed this on my Freedom camper, so as a subsequent result, I had to go to the hardware store and I had to buy some bolts and things like that so I could install it on my little camper here and make it fit. But I adapted it to my use and my needs. The one reason why I bought this, actually, let's start off with the reason why I didn't buy a 270-degree awning until now, and that's because of price. They're really, really expensive, and I happened to find this one on Amazon for, I think it was $424.99, and now I see they are, even as of the date of this video, they're even lower. They've lowered the price again to $399.99 plus tax, and of course, if you have Amazon Prime, it's free shipping. And it came very well, nicely packaged in the box, and I'm very happy with it overall as far as the installation is concerned. I haven't officially used it. I've set it up in my garage, I've stretched it out and stuff like that, but I haven't actually gone camping with it, which is going to be the next video. So this video is just a basic review of the product prior to me actually going out and using it. So one of the reasons that I decided to go with a 270-degree awning is because I did have just a little straight straight out the back awning. It was like 4.5 feet wide, and it was 8 feet long, and that was nice, and it did what I wanted it to do, except it didn't do it well enough. It didn't provide me with enough shade, and I have recently bought an air conditioner, which I'm sticking in this window, and I would like to have kept that air conditioner out of the direct sunlight. And you don't always have the opportunity to pick and choose which side of your camper or vehicle the sun is on. So I wanted something that covered more square footage and gave me a larger footprint. This awning, when it's fully extended and in the deployed mode, is 75 square feet. So it's got a pretty good footprint. Now they make bigger ones, obviously, but like I said, I wanted it something that would more correctly fit my little camper here, and this one did it. So setup on this thing is actually really, really simple. Now, while I'm doing this, I want you to take note of these zippers. The awning is tucked up in here, and it's basically cotton fabric. It's a pretty heavy duty cotton ripstop fabric, but you have to be careful when you're running these zippers as to not get the awning caught in the zippers. That is one downside of a zipper type enclosure. Now they do make hard-sided enclosures. I don't know that Overland Vehicle does, but other companies do make hard-sided enclosures, which are very, very nice, but they're also heavy. That's the other problem. I wanted to keep the weight down, and at 30 pounds, this one's got a really nice weight. But this fabric that they have up in here does have the opportunity to get caught in the zippers when you're putting it away and when you're deploying it. So you just basically open the bag. They've got two really nice Velcro straps here, which holds everything up and inside the bag. And so once you get those Velcro enclosures, this thing is super easy to set up. You don't need to have any poles for the initial deployment. It's good, they say, for about a 25-mile-an-hour wind without poles. And if you, I believe that's correct, I'll put the specs on the screen. But when you're setting this up, it is nothing more than opening up the zipper, walking it around like this. And then once you get it to this point, there's a couple of loops up here. And you just take this loop that's facing the front of the vehicle. They provide you with a strap, an adjustable strap. You hook it on there. You take the other end of the hook. You hook it somewhere permanent on your rig or somewhere strong on your rig. And then you just simply pull the strap tight. And that's all you need to do to set this thing up. This thing is set up and ready to use. Now, I'm 6'3" and on my little Freedom camper here, this provides me with just enough room to stand up in it without having to duck. But the tautness that you put on this strap is what does help give this thing some structural strength. You don't want to over tighten it, but you want it tight enough where it's actually putting some pressure on these poles so that you can get some good strength out of this. Now, the other thing that I like about the Overland vehicle systems is that built inside of the awning, they've already got the poles put in place. So if you do have a heavier wind or some weather coming up, you can go ahead and you can deploy these poles down. It's a twist lock technology. You just twist it a little bit to unlock it and then twist it to lock it. And there's poles on every one of these supports, every one of these rafter struts. There is a pole. They've got a little Velcro. They've got a little Velcro strap up here, which holds them captive. You can go ahead and deploy these poles. And the nice thing is when I've got the poles down, I can actually put a little bit of upward pressure on it, and it gives me some more headroom. Now, obviously, if you're mounting this to a vehicle, depending on the vehicle that you have, headroom might not be an issue for you. But with this little camper I've got, I'm almost exactly as tall as the roof of my little camper here. So I wanted to get some extra headroom up. And then once you've got the poles deployed, there's extra little Velcro flaps here that you use to actually secure this ripstop tarp to the poles themselves so that the wind isn't going to suck the tarp off the top of these poles. It's just a really nice design. Now I want you to take a look at this bracket structure they've got up here. This thing is really built really nice and beefy. This bracket structure they've got here to support all these poles, it's very well engineered. It's very heavy duty. This is really heavy, thick metal and material, and they did a really nice job of putting this together, and nothing interferes with anything. It's just really well engineered. I'm very, very impressed with this structure right here, because this is actually what's supporting the whole weight of the awning when it's deployed. So you'll also notice is that strategically in various spots around the awning, they've got these little loops. These are for guy wires or cables or ropes or whatever you want to call them, that you use them to actually stake this awning down if you are going to encounter a little weather. Now, I believe they say if you're using the stakes and the ropes, you're good to about a 35-mile-an-hour wind. Again, I'll post it right now as to what Overland Vehicle System says it's good for. But you've got these little spots right here that are strategically placed so that you can stake and rope this thing down if you got bad weather coming. You'll also notice that on the inside of the flap here, there's a piece of Velcro here, and you might be wondering what that's for. This actually has walls that you can get for it. There's two wall sections. They're about $150, $60 a piece. You can buy those on Amazon as well. And you can actually turn this awning into a bit of a tent, if you will, and you could actually use it as a tent or some kind of an enclosure. So you could actually sleep out here. You could use it as a little bit of a privacy tent. I'm actually going to get the number 1 and 2 walls, which takes care of the section closest to the vehicle and this section, and it's going to give me a little bit of privacy, so when I am out boondocking, camping or something, just in case there are other hikers and stuff that are coming by, I can actually place my latrine bucket in a spot where I can have a little bit of privacy and take care of some paperwork without the whole world seeing it. So I really like the fact that you can get the walls. Sorry for the mosquitoes out here. It's September in northern Minnesota, and we've got plenty of mosquitoes right now. But so that's what this Velcro flap is for, is that you can actually get walls. And the neat thing about those walls, I haven't bought them yet, but I think I'm going to, is that when the walls don't just come straight down, they actually kind of flare out, and it gives you a little bit more footprint to add some storage and things like that. Now, as I stated earlier, the awning material is actually, it's a cotton ripstop material, and it's really heavy and it's really nice and strong. It's guaranteed to be waterproof. And then all of the seams are heat sealed. So all of the seams have already been sealed where they stitch the pieces of the awning together, and they're guaranteed to be waterproof if you should encounter rain. That's the other thing I'm going to talk about is the warranty. Talking about the guaranteed leak proof, let's talk about the warranty on this thing. There's 4 years of warranty on this. That's pretty good for a piece of camping equipment to get 4 years worth of warranty on something like this. I'm fairly impressed with that. And for the price point, and like I said, you can pick these up for about $400 right now. It's really a good deal, and you can see how fast it's set up. That's what I really like about this thing. In just a matter of seconds, I can have this thing set up, and I can have shade, I can have protection from the weather. I could put the walls up fairly quickly. I'm sure they don't take very long because it's the way the rest of the system works. I can't imagine that setting the wall sections up is going to be all that difficult, and it's just really a neat system. Now, since nothing is perfect, if there is something I have to complain about, I've got a couple of things that I don't really like, but I don't know that there's really any way to get around it. And one is this gap you have right here. Now, I have moved this any number of ways and tried to get this gap reduced, and you just can't do it. The gap is going to be there. The poles will only stretch so far, and I don't want to overstretch them or overstress them, but there is a little bit of a gap right here, so there's not a whole lot I can do about that. This will be a great place for some rain to maybe come in, or maybe even some bugs if I've got the wall sections up. Obviously, without the wall section, the bugs have got a free-for-all right now. But this gap is one of the things that I really don't like. Yet at the same time, I really don't know how you could get away from it other than to possibly make this flap perhaps a little longer, and you could lay it up on top here maybe. That might help, but I really don't know how we can avoid that gap. And as I stated earlier, the zipper on here, you do have a very real chance of getting this material bunged up inside that zipper when you're closing and opening the system. So you do have to be cognizant of that. That's, again, without going to a hard-sided storage system, I don't know how else you could get around that. You just have to make sure that when you're zipping this up and when you're opening it, when you're closing and opening it, that you don't get this material zipped up in the zipper, because that could cause damage to the awning itself. It could cause damage to the zipper. So be very careful when you're putting this in, just to make sure that the zipper isn't messing anything up. So as far as putting the system away, it gets put away just as easily as it gets deployed. Obviously, the first thing you have to do if you've got the poles extended is to go ahead and restow the poles back up into their storage position. And you come over here and you release the strap, and then just go ahead and walk it back around and fold it back up into the bag. Now, so far, the best way that I've found to store this, and if you guys have this system and you know of a better way, please let me know, is just to very simply roll this thing up tuck it in under the flap. Use the Velcro straps that they give you to cinch it into position. This one I found that if you pull it as tight as you can, it really helps to suck everything in really well. Then this is the end that you have to really worry about over here. You've got all this excess material that you have to contend with, and it fits. You just have to really kind of work it in there and get that PVC bag wrapped around it as such, and kind of just tuck everything in as best as you can. And then I usually start on this end and pull the PVC cover over and start zippering from this end, making sure I don't zip up any of the awning. And then I'll stop about halfway. Do the same thing on this side. Zip it down, making sure not to zip up any of the awning. And there it is, it's stowed. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up because the mosquitoes are absolutely eating me alive out here. But I just wanted to take a quick minute to let you know I didn't buy, or Overland Vehicle Systems didn't send me this awning. I bought it with my own money, my own $424 I spent on this. I have no affiliation with these folks. I'm not being paid to produce this video. I purchased it, and I just thought I would do a video to let you know what my initial thoughts on it were. And if you're liking these kind of videos, make sure you let me know down in those comments below, and I'll try to do more of them. As always, thank you for stopping by. Thank you to all my longtime subscribers. I really do appreciate the support, and everybody who watches these videos. It really does help the YouTube algorithms if you hit that like and subscribe button and make those comments. I would really appreciate it if you did that. This is Ed with Jack of All Trades. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next video.